The kitchen is not an easy place. It's a high-pressure zone where chefs work hard to create magic. Their passion for food inspires them to create exquisite dishes and new experiences for diners. Diners who love and adore them. Fans who keep coming back for more. It's time to recognize this talent and vision. It's time to celebrate these heroes.
Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan's all-new sparkling water have created India's top restaurant awards, the first definitive list of the finest restaurants across the country. We assembled a jury of more than 100 tastemakers across the length and breadth of India. Food writers, critics, industry experts, lifestyle influencers, people who really know and love their food and got them all to vote for their favorites. I owe you so much. Thank you for making the time and the effort.
The result is India's first definitive list of top 50 restaurants. The finest names in the country right now, voted by more than 100 tastemakers across India. Deloitte Touche Tomatsu India LLP were the process advisors and official tabulators for the top restaurant awards.
I'm very excited to be here at the top restaurant awards. I think it's great because restaurants it's a hard industry. Everyone works super hard, and I think we don't really get the dues that we deserve. And I think that Condé Nast doing this is great for everybody.
I think the most exciting part for me about this evening is the fact that we hear about world's top 50, Asia's top 50. Now we can have India's top 50.
We'd like to celebrate a key customer set, which is the restaurant and hotel community. And this is a small little way in which we can give back to this community who has made this brand so big.
I think Condé Nast stands for something. There is a standard which it represents, and the fact that they are going to be now voting for the top restaurants in the country, the hoteliers, the chefs, the people who are part of that business know that there's a certain cut they have to make.
India has a number of fine dining restaurants. Bukhara, Dampuk, and Ada are icons that have been serving Indian cuisine for years. But the #1 spot on the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards list recognizes one chef who has changed the way we think of Indian food. Chef MANISH MEHROTR made waves when he opened Indian Accent in Delhi in 2009. He pairs global ingredients and techniques with Indian tastes and flavors, launching a truly 21st century modern Indian restaurant that now has branches in London and New York.
Modern cuisine cannot exist without traditional cuisine. How can be a grandson without a grandfather? My food philosophy is take the dish, which is really, really Indian dish, and do it in such a way or present it in such a way that it becomes a global Indian dish and everybody outside India can easily relate to. If I say this particular kebab is, meat is cut for 2 days and marinated with 100 and something spices and marinated for 36 hours, then they cook for 44 hours, and nobody is going to try that thing. So simplify it.
I think Chef MANISH MEHROTR is the godfather of Indian food revolution. I think 10 years down the line, when kids read about him in culinary schools, they will know he's the man who changed the scene.
But Manish had never worked in an Indian kitchen before he started Indian Accent. After graduating from culinary school, he worked mainly in Asian kitchens.
Indian Accent is my first Indian restaurant. That really helped me. So when I started Indian Accent, I broke all the rules. I use a lot of different ingredients. There are 1 or 2 dishes which I marinate, Indian dishes which I marinate with oyster sauce, which nobody can think of using oyster sauce in Indian khana. I use Parmesan in few of my things as a flavor enhancer. So I broke all the rules. All my meats are cooked in oven. I really learned from Asian cooking, where you keep the texture of different vegetables in a way that you can not only enjoy the flavor of the vegetable, but texture of the vegetable also, which is very, very important.
However, executing these new ideas was challenging.
India is a more difficult market to open a modern restaurant than anywhere else in the world. It was a huge risk, and we used to have people who used to come and walk out of the restaurant. Menu में कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आया. Blue cheese naan, we make blue cheese naan. So blue cheese naan is a very acquired taste, और Indians के लिए थोड़ा सा वो यूनिक फ्लेवर है. तो एक दो बार ऐसा हुआ है कि गेस्ट ने बुला के कान में बोला है मेरे कि सर आपकी ये डिश ना खराब हो गई है, तो किसी और को मत दीजिएगा खाने के लिए. मैंने सोचा आपको पहले बता दूं. तो मैं ये थोड़ी ना उनको समझाने लगूंगा कि नहीं ब्लू चीज़ है इसके अंदर में, आपको पता नहीं है. नहीं, चुपचाप मैम आई विल जस्ट चेक एंड मैं इसको सही कर देता हूँ. Our soy keema with quail egg, which was based on with the lime leaf pav, it really surprised people. This is a vegetarian dish, and it's a very, very influenced dish from a dish called keema ghotala from Bombay. And then I have our ribs, pork ribs, with meetha achar, Gujarati chunda achar के साथ में. अब that chunda achar is there in every restaurant. कोई चिकन विंग्स उसमें टॉस कर रहा है, कोई लैम्ब उसमें टॉस कर रहा है. आज से 6 साल पहले nobody used to think about tacos and putting kathal on the menu and karela on the menu.
That is the real face of contemporary Indian food. It's not fusion. It's just good. He's just a good skilled chef who's putting his skills to test, and he's getting the techniques right.
Cooking you can do, but the ideas really, your exposure is very, very important to broaden your mind, to open your mind. And that is really important. And when you travel, when you see things with your eyes, that is very, very important, I would say. First time I went to New York, I tried their cheesecake, baked New York cheesecake. अरे वाह, तो बड़ा अच्छा है. बेसन लड्डू का शेल बना के उसके अंदर करेंगे. Creamy cheesecake with a sandy texture. डोडा बर्फी टिकल टार्ट was very, very difficult to execute. अब तो रेसिपी एक बार तो बाएं हाथ से हो जाता है, बट उस समय जब रेसिपी कभी बहुत मीठा हो जाए, क्योंकि डोडा बर्फी is really sweet, बड़ा मीठा हो जाए, कभी सौगी हो जाए, कभी गीला हो जाए, कभी सूखा हो जाए, तो काफी मुश्किल के बाद डोडा बर्फी टिकल टार्ट मेन्यू पे आई.
It's never easy to create something new, something special. An idea might take root in the mind of a great chef, but getting it right is a long and difficult process.
That is where your team comes in, and that helps you to formulate your ideas, how to put your ideas on the plate. My relationship with my staff is teacher-student relation, saas-bahu relation. Sometimes I am a teacher, sometimes I am a nagging senior boss, or sometimes I am a difficult tantrum-throwing girlfriend or boyfriend. During 12 o'clock to 2:30 and 7 o'clock to 10:30, it's maddening. And people are coming here to eat with a lot of expectation. That expectation, all these awards are there in this shoulder, and they are the ones who have to save it, save the reputation. I'm not saying that I am changing the industry, but the thing is, yes, ये मैं करता या कोई और करता, ये होना था. It was bound to.
Coming up next, a chef who believes that the future of Indian food is about going back to its past. Welcome back to the first Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards. A glittering evening at the Lodi, New Delhi, where the industry gathered to celebrate the country's top 50 restaurants, as well as some true originals, pathbreakers, and disruptors in India's food scene. At only 21, food blogger and baker Shivesh Bhatia has 100,000 followers on Instagram. His recipes and photos of gooey chocolate cake and cinnamon rolls have made him a social media star and changed this home baker's life. That's why he's the winner of the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Excellence Award for Social Media Star of the Year.
I am absolutely thrilled to be here in the company of so many people from the industry who I absolutely admire and look up to. So thank you for having me over and thank you for this award. It's super encouraging and it feels great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well done, Parth. Well done.
Social media is a powerful tool for chefs today. They use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to learn about what's new around the world, but also to connect with new audiences and test their new ideas. These innovators are now influencers who are changing the way India eats. The Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Excellence Award for Innovator of the Year was given to pastry chef POOJA DHINGRA of Lee 15 for using social media in the most exciting way.
Thank you guys, thank you so much. Thank you Condé Nast for having me for this award. And I think I can finally justify the number of hours I spend on my phone. Thank you.
The Condé Nast Traveller and Singleton Selections, the Inherently Good Taste Award, went to Zawarar Kalra.
We'd like to congratulate Zorawar Kalra for winning the Singleton Selections Award this evening. A truly well-deserved accolade for a great restaurateur. Zorawar has played a very important role in building the fine dining culture in this country. His restaurants embody the finer things in life and have a great tasteful experience.
I implore all the restaurateurs here to look inwards. Embrace your Indianness. Don't look eastwards, don't look westwards. If you look within, you'll find the best teams in the world within India.
The entire community came together for the awards ceremony, encouraging and cheering their peers, celebrating each other's success. A number of restaurants serving regional Indian cuisine made it to the top 50. Through innovative experiments in local cuisines, restaurants like Yeti the Himalayan Kitchen, Soda Bottle Opener Wala, Gunpowder have got the attention of those who appreciate great food. And the restaurant, which stood above the rest, was the Bombay Canteen, ranked number 2 at the Condé Nast and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Award.
It was an important story to tell of the real Indian food that's out there, which most Indians aren't really aware of. What we're doing here is not really trying to make Indian food trendy. It's kind of reimagining what trendy or cool can be. I spent a lot of my childhood in my grandmother's kitchen, just cooking beside her and learning from her right when I was a little kid. And that's what really got me passionate about food. We also do a dish called Meen Polichadu, which is a very traditional Kerala recipe of curry mean, which is pearl spot. That's marinated in like an onion, tomato and coconut masala, wrapped in banana leaf and then cooked on a tawa. We don't use curry mean here because it's local to Kerala. Here we try and use fish that's available in the Bombay markets, but it's been on our menu since day one, and that's something that's really close to my heart as well because it's a very special Kerala recipe. It takes me back to that memory of my grandmother.
Bombay Canteen was founded by Samir SETH and Yash Benage in 2015. they brought on Floyd Cardoz and Thomas Zacharias to give shape to their vision. One which evokes a sense of nostalgia about the India and the Bombay they grew up in.
I think nostalgia was a part of what we do. I think what we started off was looking at stories which we grew up with. I come from the north, Yash comes from Maharashtra, Chef Floyd comes from Goa and Bombay, Thomas comes from Kerala. And all of us, our collective memories was sort of the starting point of what we started doing at the Bombay Canteen. And what you see in the space is very much inspired by the fact that we were taking something old and adding a new twist to it.
We were lucky to have Thomas from 6 months before we eventually opened, or 6 to 8 months before. We had his home kitchen decked up into this kitchen where we used to test all our recipes. And we also did a lot of dinners where we didn't tell people who we were.
Our thought when we were opening the Bombay Canteen was, can we take familiar flavors and dishes and then create something which people will connect to?
So you always need to keep evolving, keep listening to your guest, but at the same time, stick to your core philosophy and don't change that.
Bombay Canteen, I eat there a lot. Again, I love the different menus. I think my new favorite was the brunch menu they did about 3 months ago. Absolutely fantastic to see an Indian brunch of that caliber.
We as a restaurant opened about 3 years ago now. And we are still one of the very few restaurants in the country that are using vegetables which are available in the local market. I go to the markets to get inspired because just walking through those markets and being around all that fresh produce kind of sparks off ideas in my head. And it's exciting to see and connect back to the people who are working with those vegetables themselves. Instead of being in a very close environment of the kitchen and not realizing what's out there. So currently, we're in the middle of the Bombay winter, if there ever was one. And there are a lot of really exciting vegetables in the market. One of them is purple mugri. Mugri is this local rat-tail radish. Rat-tail because it looks like one. And you get the green variety throughout the year, but in the winter you get this purple, beautiful purple mugri, which again, that color itself you don't see in food anywhere. And we use that in our arbi tuk. Arbi itself is an ingredient which are restricted to Sindhi homes. And we put that together to make a great chota on our menu.
Another unusual ingredient, green gram, available only in winters, triggered another idea in Thomas's mind.
And it kind of reminded me of hummus because you make chana with you make hummus with chickpeas, and this is a fresh variety which I'd never seen before in my life because you don't get it in Kerala, you only get it here in up north, and that potential kind of opened up this whole the idea of the dish. So currently that's my favorite because it's got a lot of different textures, flavors, and it's delicious. You can keep eating spoonfuls of it.
Focusing on seasonal ingredients has also meant that the menu at Bombay Canteen changes every 3 months.
Ours is not a very easy kitchen to be a part of because we're constantly on the move and we're constantly preparing and changing menus and doing food collaborations and things like that. But what I keep telling the team is that we're part of something bigger than all of us because what we're trying to do is get Indians excited about Indian food.
It's a great honor to be felicitated by Condé Nast Traveller because there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make a great dining experience. And to see that recognized at a stage like the Restaurant Awards, it's always really heartwarming, and it's a great sort of motivation to continue pushing what we're doing and continue not settling for what we've already done.
While some restaurants make magic with exotic ingredients flown in from across the world, we meet the chefs championing local, seasonal, farm-fresh produce. Coming up next, only on the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards. Welcome back to Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards, the first platform to recognize and award India's top 50 restaurants, as decided by more than 100 tastemakers across the country and audited by Deloitte Touche Tomatsu India LLP.
Moving on to the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Excellence Award for the Game Changer of the Year goes to someone who almost never takes things lying down. His restaurants go beyond food and really interact with the neighborhoods that they inhabit.
I'm sure you all know who we mean. Riaz Amlani.
Thank you, Condé Nast Top 50 Restaurants, for this incredible honor. Game changer, I'm not so sure. I apologize if I have inadvertently changed the game. I happen to love this game. I love restauranting. I love restaurateurs. I think they're the best people on the planet.
The Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Excellence Award for a Homegrown Brand of the Year was presented by none other than AMITABH KANT, CEO of Niti Aayog. AMITABH KANT presented the award to Conscious Foods for their pioneering efforts in championing natural and organic food in India since 1990.
And the winner of this award is Conscious Food. Aditi Malik and Alia Jamal, please come up.
Thank you very much to everyone. An endorsement from this community that values the quality and integrity of ingredients means a lot to us. So thank you very, very much.
Organic, natural, regional, and local are buzzwords these days. And many of the top 50 restaurants are inspired by them, using these raw ingredients to create delicious food and fine dining experiences.
You know, I think in a world where we are becoming aware of the importance of local produce, eating farm to table, less carbon footprint, you begin to realize that you have these healthy superfoods, delicious things growing in your backyard, or the regions that you come from or you're interested in.
I think the biggest change is people are, I think they're conscious and about sustainable food, about, you know, what they eat, where they eat, how it's getting on their plate. And I think this is like a global trend, and we're seeing it in India too.
While it's easy to fall in love with the idea of cooking with locally grown ingredients, it is far more difficult than you think to put this into practice, especially when you are running a restaurant. No one knows this better than PRATEEK SADHU, head chef of Mask, which sources ingredients directly from farmers across the country.
Basically, it's all about going back to roots and, you know, getting inspiration from that. India is always known for its food and curries and like spices, but nobody talks about India as a place where you can find beautiful ingredients. So for us at Mask, the technique is not as important as ingredients. Chasing great food means chasing different amazing ingredients and chasing different farmers. My name is Prateek and I'm the head chef at Mask. My mother got me interested in food and cooking both. It was by chance that I got into this. I mean, I loved food all. You know, I never thought I would take up this profession. There are a few factors which really influence my cooking right now. Is the first experience, as I said, you know, in Noma. I mean, I was very young, naive, and I went to this beautiful restaurant on my intern for 3 months. You know, I met Rene and, you know, how he believed in the concept of local ingredients, of, you know, foraging. I think that really changed everything the way I thought. And when I came back and when we were talking about opening Mask, I always want to do something with ingredients.
I'd done a lot of food-related travels and worked in a lot of kitchens. And I just recently come back from San Sebastian, which is like the gastronomic hub currently of the world right now. And when I met Prateek, it was literally, you know, I'd come back with so many ideas that this is what I wanted to do. Or if I ever opened a restaurant, that's what I wanted, you know, it's a food that I'd want to create this food scene in India because we're so backward. I felt like an activist when you know, this idea came up, but really I do things with pure instinct, and I wanted to take this risk.
So before we opened Mask, me and Aditi started traveling. We started traveling all over India. So we started meeting all these people, like connecting dots and like kind of writing a script for Mask. The hunt for my favorite ingredient led me to Ladakh. It's always difficult to just go to that region and get something. Like you have to go to Turtuk, that's around 5 hours from Leh. I think that was my fondest memory and my favorite hunt. That was very challenging as well in terms of how we got Seabukthon. And all these local people really helped us getting those berries. It's an entire huge bush filled with thorns, so we had to wear army gloves. One guy was just like plucking, one guy was just like, you know, hammering them, and then you get these amazing berries. It's just the way, like the entire journey to get that berry. I think that is what is really exciting. And of course, the berry is like one of the most delicious berries I've ever eaten. And we serve it in Mask in a very different way. Back in our kitchen, there's always R&D happening with a lot of ingredients. So we get these ingredients and we at least take 10 to 15 days to put it on the menu, because for 10 days, there's day in, day out R&D, like how the ingredient is, what can we do. So every day is an eye-opener for us. Like 2 hours before, we got this like a coriander smelling big leaf. So it's called a tooth cilantro. I mean, I've never seen it in my life. At Mask, like we sometimes don't know what are we cooking tomorrow. So for example, we got Seabukthon, but we got 100 kilos. So we can run it for at least 6 months. Or when we got these purple carrots from Kashmir, we only got like 30, 40 kilos. So you can only run like 5 services with that, and that's it, it's done. So it has always been a challenge, but it's fun.
At Mask, you don't know what you're going to be eating for dinner. There's no a la carte menu. Diners just choose from a 10-course meal and a 14-course meal. The rest is decided by Prateek, who serves up beautiful dishes one after the other, each with its own unique flavor and story.
I love stories. And there was a story to be told with Mask, and I just loved everything. The food, yes, the presentation was amazing, the story, incredible.
Honestly, I opened with zero expectation. I somehow, as I said, I believed in it, but when I really I thought, you know, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if we'll just have 2 diners every single night. I'm surprised. I mean, at least we have now like 40, 50 diners, which is for us, which is really great. I have come to a conclusion also that what defines you as a person or as your personality is where you come from, is what your roots are. So that draws me back to Kashmir and what I used to eat. So we're doing this lamb now, which is cooked in yogurt, a lot of fennel, Kashmiri chili we put, and ginger powder. So those are the elements what we usually cook either Rogan Josh with that, or we make yakni back home. But I also added, we sliced thin like kohlrabi, which is again very staple to Kashmir, and we compressed it with like chili oil and fennel oil. And so when you eat that dish as a whole, it reminds you of eating, we cook braised lamb with kohlrabi at home. So it's exactly, when you put it in your mouth, it's like a memory in your mouth.
For his innovative use of ingredients, which are painstakingly sourced directly from producers living in different corners of the country, Prateek won the Himalayan Sparkling Raw and Fine Chef of the Year award. He was awarded for embodying Himalayan Sparkling's philosophy of celebrating establishments and chefs for whom ingredients with a unique and natural source play a central role in providing a superior experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Condé Nast. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Alex. Today is the 489th day of mask opening, and we call it 489th day of our lives. That's what we call it, the restaurant, because we have a whiteboard, and every day we write a new quote and the day and what day are we on. Well, I'm receiving this award on behalf of my entire mask family. They are the people who push me every day. They're the people who push themselves, and yeah, thank you very much. This is for them.
What we would like to celebrate, and I would like to celebrate the most, is the trend where people, I think, are going back close to nature. People want stuff which is close to nature, least processed, very, very raw and fine.
It's an honor to be awarded the Himalayan Raw and Fine Chef of the Year. We're very young, and it's just great to be in this prestigious platform with all these young chefs and young restaurateurs. So it's great. There's a lot of pressure in terms of how are we doing, but I think it's a good pressure. It makes you more responsible. It makes you more mature about looking at a lot of things in a very different way. So we want to, at the end of the day, when we leave, we want to leave a legacy. That's what we're here for.
Coming up next, a couple who quit their corporate jobs to open a restaurant in Mumbai and then decided to run a farm and grow their own ingredients as well. Welcome back to the first edition of the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards. A first-of-its-kind event that celebrated the 50 best restaurants across India. These restaurants don't just serve up delicious food, they make a real statement.
I think the next big trend in 2018 is going to be, again, local food, people are interested to know where their food is coming from, who's making it, how it's made, how it's sourced.
In terms of food philosophies in 2018, I think we're going to see a lot more restaurants and chefs present a point of view. It might be a restaurant that's ingredient-driven, region-specific, or even diet-specific, but we're going to move beyond the phase of just restaurants which are just a cuisine agnostic to a time when the chef and the restaurant will have a specific point of view which they feel very strongly about.
Gauri Devidel and Jay Youssef felt so strongly about food that they gave up their high-paying corporate jobs to start a restaurant in Mumbai. The risk paid off. The Table is number 3 on the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards. The Table is known for its focus on clean eating and a menu that celebrates ingredients. In fact, most of the veggies for The Table come from the couple's own farm in AMITABH near Mumbai.
We were growing a lot of sort of vegetables just for our own personal consumption at home. And one thing that grows really well for some reason here is spinach. So I dropped it off at the restaurant and just gave it to the chefs and said, hey, do what you want with this, just use it. And literally the next day they came to me and they were like, whatever it is you got us, can you get us more of it? Where did you get it from? And that's sort of when the penny dropped.
Gauri and Jay started The Table in 2011. Gauri has a background in law and finance, while Jay returned to India from California after quitting his job in the tech sector.
So the thing about California is that you get amazing produce there. So, making the ingredient the star of the dish rather than a particular style of cooking. So it takes inspiration from all sorts of cuisines. And I think that's what we wanted to bring here.
When I was talking about starting a Californian restaurant, she didn't think that is the right thing to do. She thought I had this crazy idea.
I tried talking my husband out of it actually for the longest time. because I didn't think it's a wise thing for us to be opening a restaurant. But, you know, he seemed quite determined, and I got involved just helping him, you know, with the initial legal and financial aspects, and found myself getting more and more involved and enjoying it. There were a number of challenges: getting the food right, communicating what we were doing to our diners who were being introduced to a relatively new concept in terms of both cuisine as well as the style of the menu, which was small plates, large plates. People didn't really understand what we were, you know.
Even as they put the menu together, Gauri suggested introducing a community table that has now come to define the restaurant.
So that's what ended up being one of the key features of the restaurant, and also led to the name of the restaurant. So the community table is a great feature in the restaurant, especially because of the location of the restaurant, where there are a lot of hotels around. We get a lot of tourists who come who are solo diners, and it's great because you end up finding people talking to each other who didn't know each other at the beginning of the night. We've sort of stayed true to our concept in terms of food and the experience throughout, but I think we've evolved as restaurateurs in terms of the offering. About a year into the restaurant, we accidentally started the Table Farm, which, you know, grows produce for the restaurant. We've enhanced our wine program and spirits. We launched Mag Street Bread Co., which is also about providing great breads around the city. Again, even with our breads, we've sort of followed through on our philosophy of using only local ingredients, everything being handmade. And I think that sort of is a big part of, you know, our brand and what we stand for.
Gauri and Jay have also opened doors to their farm for people who are interested in going to the source.
I love coming to the farm. It's so therapeutic to actually plant seeds and then every week come here and see how much it's grown. You know, there was nothing more gratifying than sort of seeing something literally from seed to plate, and, you know, every step in between, from, you know, when the first leaves come out to seeing the flowers and then the fruit or the vegetable, and then being able to take it to the restaurant, seeing the chef's reactions. You know, it's really, it's a project that's so close to my heart, and something that till date I never get sort of bored, you know, with the idea of coming here.
The table also received the Himalayan Raw and Fine Award. This award celebrated restaurants and chefs for whom ingredients with a unique and natural source play a central role in providing a superior experience.
Himalayan stands for all that is raw and fine. It is water which is taken out of an aquifer in the Himalayas. It's completely untouched, unprocessed. You know, it's nature the chef at its best, creating this wonderful water. It's a trend out there today. People are seeking what is raw and fine, and we'd like to celebrate this, this philosophy.
The way that this award is, which is that it's not about sort of being rewarded in a certain category of cuisine, or, you know, it's just about the restaurant where it stands in, you know, in respect to its peers, is a huge endorsement. It's a wonderful feeling to be getting this kind of recognition.
While local and regional Indian ingredients and cuisine are on the rise, one master chef on the top 50 list has introduced India to the authentic flavors of Italy. We see her in action next, only on Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards. While regional cuisine and local ingredients are major trends in the food space right now, international restaurants are just as popular and innovative. Wasabi by Morimoto, the Spice Route and Artusi Restaurante E-Bar in Delhi, and Bomraz in Goa were among the top 50 restaurants where you can sample the finest flavors from all over the world. One local chef who was considered the unofficial ambassador of all things Italian is Ritu Dalmia, who has been serving up authentic Italian fare since she was just 20 years old.
I never thought I'll become a chef. I wanted to be this fancy businesswoman with a private plane with 3 assistants with my 3 mobiles going behind me. It just happened. I was going to Italy a lot for my father's work. I fell in love with Italian food. Still never thought I would take it as a profession. And one day I got a major shouting from my father. Really? And I said, what the hell? Hum kisi ki ji hazuri ab nahi karenge. And I quit. And this friend of mine from Italy, who was also my machinery supplier, she says, well, you cook quite well. There are no Italian restaurants in Delhi. Open a restaurant. And like everything else in my life, the decision was made in 30 seconds flat. Good or bad, I will tell you about it when I'm 70, but that's how it happened.
Ritu opened Mezzaluna, determined to stay true to the flavors of Italy.
But stupid, 20-year-olds are not very bright, okay? So I'm opening an authentic Italian restaurant in an era where food imports are banned, alcohol licenses are not available, no ingredients are available. So what was I doing? I was flying to Italy every second week, filling my suitcases with ingredients and cooking. Obviously now, I mean, it doesn't take a mathematician to realize this was a seriously disastrous business model. And obviously it didn't work. But whilst that restaurant was running, not even a single day the food was compromised upon. And that is something I'm still very proud of.
Ritu was only 20 years old when she opened Mezzaluna, and she hadn't received any formal training in cooking. But when she hired trained chefs to work in her first restaurants, she realized that they would have to unlearn most of the things they knew. Ritu decided that it would be best to train young, fresh minds.
So when Diva started, we also started a program to take kids from very underprivileged background and train them into giving them a profession. And I am super proud to say out of the 190 people we have, out of which 100 are about chefs, I think we have 2 or 3 who have been to catering colleges, and rest of them have never had any cooking experience.
इसमें थोड़ी honey की quantity कम करना है. Let me also taste it. And could you taste the saltiness of the goat cheese?
Unlike Mezzaluna, Diva was tremendously successful. The chef was the same, but India has changed.
What happened between 95 and 2000, the period that I was in UK, was the economy opened up. The spending power increased. And people who started traveling, they went to Italy. When they came back, they wanted to recreate the same experience. All right? So they didn't want this overcooked lasagna with chicken, olives, sun-dried tomato, thoda dhania bhi dal do. They wanted, this is what we ate in the streets of Rome.
Simple doesn't mean easy, especially because the menu at Diva changes every 3 months. What's the secret?
I think for me, travel has been my greatest source of education, exposure, and also helps me with what I do. I still go to various places very often just to see what's happening. What's the new thing that's happening with food? What are the new ingredients? What are the new styles? So if you really ask me, what's been my education in cooking? It's been all the travels that I've done.
When it comes to the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards, she doesn't like to take all the credit.
Any form of recognition in any field, I think, is very important. And when something like CNT, which by the way is my favorite magazine, I mean, that's the only travel magazine I love to read, feels great because also there's a lot more, how shall I say, authenticity and a lot more weight given to it. But when they are recognized, at least there's a realization that cooking, restaurants is a form of art, you know. I wish I could take the credit for it, but I don't. Well, I got the award, but actually it's my team who deserve it, because as I said, they're the people who are cooking now, they're the people who are carrying the torch. But it's very nice. I mean, even if I try to be modest about it, but it's always nice to be recognized for what you're doing. So obviously it feels fabulous.
As we round up the Condé Nast Traveller and Himalayan Sparkling Top Restaurant Awards, the full list of India's top 50 restaurants can be seen in the new issue of Condé Nast Traveller, on stands now or on www.cntraveller.in. Things are definitely heating up in the restaurant space in India. New ideas, old techniques, different ways of thinking about food. Chefs are taking things to a new level, and despite the many challenges, they are succeeding. Diners in India are happy to experiment and try something new. So which restaurants will make the top 50 list in our next edition? Time will tell. Until then, congratulations to the winners, and to everyone else, bon appetit.